Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, March 10th, Mario Day 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is Gameonicist, Janet Garcia.
What's up? Happy to be here. So psyched that this landed on Mario Day. I don't know if that was like super premeditated, but I was very excited. I got my Mario jacket, my Splatfest
Got your Mario
shirt. We got Yoshi. The chances of me spilling a lot of things while recording this are higher than zero, but I'm willing to take those chances.
I'm glad you came prepared because I didn't want I came up with the idea last week, right, to show up to this episode wearing my Mario getup. That's right. If you're listening to the audio version, I'm wearing a Mario costume. I got the Mario hat. I got the suspenders. I got all the good stuff right here, right? Me and Mario, you couldn't tell us apart even if you tried. I made that plan, and then I texted you, and I was like, hey, do you happen to have anything that's Mario? Because I didn't want to show up, and then all of a sudden, it's that awkward thing where, like, one of us dresses up to the party, and the other person is rocking, I don't know, Sonic the Hedgehog
I wear this even when it's not Mario Day, so I'm like, we're ready to go. I got Yoshi here. I got my I get a lot of those stupid order bonuses at when I buy my physical cartridges that no one buys. So I got my water bottle. I got my Mario mug. I got a physical copy of Mario 64. Like,
oh my god,
this is the news. The news already happened. Mario's good. This just in.
We're going to talk about this a lot later in Reader Mail because I put out the question of people to get people to submit their Mario memories, which we're going to talk about. But before we get there, what's your history with Mario? Like, where do you stand with Mario? Because it looks like you're a fan at the very least.
Yes, I would say I would say I'm a fan of Mario. Yeah, I have a really rich history with Mario. They are some of my earliest gaming memories. I think my very earliest gaming memory is probably Yoshi's Island. On this SNES Junior, but right after that is just like Mario 64. The N64 was our first like big deal console. It was the console that got my brother into gaming and subsequently me into gaming. The SNES Junior was just because my family didn't want to pay for the N64 yet until they like knew we were real gamers who were going to play the games that they bought. But yeah, I played Super Mario 64 as a kid. I remember that being super challenging because I was like 5 or 4 when I started playing games. And some of it was like super scary. And like, I just fell in love with that world. And I've been playing Mario ever since. I've played almost all the 3D ones. I did miss Galaxy because I missed the Wii. So you know how that goes. But everything else I played a lot of the 2D stuff. I'm that person that just keeps buying the Mario games over and over again because Nintendo doesn't make it easy to not buy them. And I don't care. I happily buy them. Like I'm waiting for more opportunities to buy more. I love some of the more niche stuff too, like 6 Golden Coins. I've played a lot of them. Not everything. There's a lot of different Mario games, like Super Mario RPG just had its anniversary. I haven't gotten to that one yet, but I absolutely adore Mario. I think it's just one of the best, if not the best, platforming franchise of all time. And I'm a huge platformer fan. As I'm sure you're aware, the platforming genre is definitely, it's no longer in its heyday, right? That was kind of like a 90s, 2000s.
We're still in a gray area. Like I feel like as games have gone, right? Like people have kind of written off platformers more and more, understandably because other game genres have kind of come through and really usurped the hotness that was platformers back in the day. But like we still have like a lot of incredible platformers coming out, right? Like we can still get the modern Mario games. We had Crash 4 come through.
Ratchet and Clank's about to. Crash 4 was so good, and I love when stuff like that happens. And I know we're gonna get into this too with other games that are coming out that are sort of resurging in old genres, right? But I love seeing a great platformer step into the space, and it's just so cool how Mario, after all these years, has like held it down. And I think what's really unique about the Mario franchise is that it's always so fresh. I don't even think you can make an argument that Mario has gotten stagnant. Every 3D game feels distinctly different, with Galaxy 1 and 2 being like the closest to the same since they are direct sequels. But it's just like each 3D Mario, it's like, what's going to be the new crazy idea that is introduced? And like, I never would have predicted they would have done something like Odyssey with the capture mechanic. And I just think there's so much playfulness and joy in Mario. And I think that's one of the things I really love about it. You know, obviously we're here, we talk games, we do criticism and all that. But I think Mario has like a certain joy and purity to it that so few games have. Like Mario's one of the Nintendo games that no one says, oh, that's a kid's game. You know, that comment gets thrown around a lot for Nintendo properties, but no one ever says that about Mario. People just love Mario. It's fun. You run, you jump. And it's just all based on that simple premise that the jump feels good. And I just, it's such a great franchise.
It's such a pure franchise. Have you gone back to play Galaxy now that it's on Switch?
I started it. I haven't gone that far. So far, very weird. It does feel very weird starting it. Like I'm not a big fan of the we're running around the tiny planets. Like that sort of trips me out. I know it kind of gets away from that as it goes on. I am enjoying some of the general mechanics though, like the little trapeze thing. I'm like, ooh, I like this. So there's like these few sparks of innovation and fun, and you can kind of see where what's interesting about the All Stars collection coming out too is you really start to, for me, I started to appreciate Odyssey so much more. Having come off of Odyssey, I was like, I don't know, there were kind of like too many moons, right? Like it sort of just didn't really feel as special as 64. And while I still sort of stand by that, I'm like, wow, Odyssey really fixed so many problems that are in all the other 3D Mario games. That it really changed my appreciation for that game. But I do hope to go back and finish it. Don't know what I'm gonna do for Galaxy 2. Have the Wii U. I guess I could.
Dude, bust out the Wii. Bust out the Wii U.
Up, but no one wants to bust out the Wii U. Even when I had my Wii U plugged in, I didn't want to bust out the Wii U.
Fair.
Something about it is it just doesn't warrant going back to. But what about you? What's your Mario history?
I mean, Mario has been there like my whole life, right? Like we're a similar age, and so I also grew up with the N64. The N64 was the first console that I personally owned, and I was in the perfect scenario to get into Mario because Mario 64, along with Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey, for some reason, those were my first games that I ever owned. And then I also had friends in the neighborhood, like one of my close friends growing up, Addison. He had an SNES, and so I would play Mario 64. Me and my 3 older sisters would play through that game, and then I would go to Addison's house all the time, and I'd play Super Mario World and Super Mario 3D All Stars at his place. And then later down the line, my sisters, for some reason, I don't know why or how this happened, they were always obsessed with Super Mario 3. And so years down the line, when I was about like 6 or 7 years old, which would have been like 2000 or something like that, we ended up buying an NES, which was very late to buy an NES, but they really wanted it so they could play Mario 3 because they had such fond memories of Mario 3 because they would play that back in the day. And Mario 3 ended up being a game that I truly fell in love with. Mario 3 is still my favorite 2D platformer. I played that all the time, and I know that game like the back of my hand. But yeah, that Mario 64 I've talked about on plenty of podcasts. I absolutely love Mario 64 and I have such fond memories of it. And I stand by that game ages super well. Like you go back to Mario 64 today and it's like, wow, they really had this thing down in terms of game feel, in terms of how the game looks. For an N64 game, for one of the earliest N64 games, that game still looks good. You know, like you look at other N64 games and they look like straight up garbo. Mario 64 still stands up in that regard, and the level design is so good. And I legit, when I first started thinking the idea for the Blessing Show, one of the early episode ideas I had in mind, I still might do this episode eventually, was going to be about Mario 64's level design, because you look at it and like every single level kind of has this almost puzzle box feeling to it. You know, you jump into the first snow level in the game, right? And like the way in which that level is designed, you can skip to certain stars by jumping off a ledge and then coming back around toward the bottom of the level and getting there, which has been some of my favorite things about the levels in that game, right? The way in which you can kind of tackle them the way you want to and not have to feel like you're on one path, which I think kind of makes 3D Mario, the fact that you have exploration there and you can kind of experiment and do your own thing. And so yeah, Mario's awesome. Mario Odyssey I love. Like I played most of the 3D Mario games, and I guess I've at least touched all of them. Mario Sunshine being the one that I haven't played through because I could not get into Sunshine.
No,
I couldn't do it.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I can't be too mad at it. Like, you know, it's funny. People always are like, how could, and then I'm like, I'm not going to pretend to care that much. I didn't make the game. I'm not getting money off this. Like, it is what it is. But was it the camera? Like, because you can invert the controls and stuff now. Like, what's the issue? In the
same way that you didn't have a Wii, I didn't have a GameCube growing up. That's when I generation is when I transitioned.
You know, you didn't live with the little drop in the cube.
No, I had a friend that had a GameCube, but I didn't. I wasn't at their house all the time. The way I was hanging out with Addison all the time to play his SNES. And so yeah, I didn't have the dun 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 dun, like that whole thing. I kind of skipped that. That's when I transitioned to PlayStation and PS2 and living with that console. And so coming back to it for 3D All Stars, I jump into Super Mario Sunshine. And just the controls and how it felt, and it was missing certain moves that I feel like make 3D Mario, and the camera, and it doesn't have that same. It doesn't have that same game feel. I didn't play enough of it to necessarily go off on it. But for the probably like an hour or so that I played of it, I was like, I am not having fun. I can just go back to playing Mario 64 right now.
That's well, I mean, you put it against Mario 64. You put pretty much anything against Mario 64, and I'm going to choose Mario 64. But what I love Sunshine as like the awkward child of the 3D family. You're right. It does feel different.
It's different.
In a way that could be negative.
I forget. Mario Sunshine doesn't have the is it the long jump? Is that what it's missing? Because you do the dive jump instead, I think.
I don't remember offhand what move it's missing. Because like that's not that like when I think of Sunshine, I'm not like, oh, it's the one missing that weird move, because I played it when I was a kid too. So like I don't really have that experience of coming in the modern era. But what I really love about Sunshine is it just feels so different than everything else. And I think too, in a weird way, it's interesting seeing the seeds of the design, right? Like Sunshine feels in an odd way a precursor to Odyssey, because it has like that key companion in a way that Cappy was, like Flood is that, and they both have like little names and they're sort of anthropomorphic. I will say my biggest beef with Sunshine, I have a couple. One of them probably just being the nozzle changes. Like you probably didn't get maybe this far, but you have different nozzles for Flood and like different ones do different things, and they make it so that you have to like go and grab it, and it's just kind of a pain. And I get that they probably just didn't want you to cheat, like fly through the levels, you know, if you had all of them all the time. But I found that to be kind of annoying. And there are some rough sections, but like there are so many amazing moments in that game, and it has like those like secret. Did you get to any of the secret areas where they take Flood away? And you're just platforming on your own?
I've seen people play them and stuff. I've not.
You should. I don't know. Like, I feel like you should force yourself through at least like a little bit more. Like maybe like, I don't know if it's 5 hours too much, 4 hours. I just feel like a little bit more just to see some of the. I think you've maybe only seen the negatives of what your perception is of the game, rather than like the shining parts, you know, the shines, if you will, right? If we're being in theme,
the shines of Mario Sunshine,
yeah, the shines of Mario Sunshine. It really is a blast. It's very different. It's goofy. It has a crazy story with like, you know, it starts with Mario getting arrested. Like you have to play it a little bit more.
It's so weird, but
it's such a good game.
We'll talk about Mario some more, because we got again reader mail. It's probably gonna be more Mario talk. But for now, Janet, I want to talk to you about an Animal Crossing / Build-A-Bear crossover, a new Ninja Turtles game, and more, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're-wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. To be a part of the show, at the patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, where bronze members or above get to write in, and silver members or above get the show ad-free with the exclusive daily post show. Housekeeping for you, there's no FCF draft tonight, but remember that playoffs start this Saturday. Of course, you can tune in right here, twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames, for the shenanigans, follow along, call the plays, have a fun time, crack open a cold one with the boys. It'll be great. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Mick at the Nanobiologist Abramson, Blackjack, and Trent Berry. Today we're brought to you by Logitech and Hellofresh, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
Baker's Dozen!
Starting with our number 1, we're getting a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. This broke this morning and everybody was going crazy about it. Yeah, folks are excited. I'm going to pull from Michael McWhirter at Polygon, who has a pretty good write-up about it. And Kevin, I have the trailer here if you want to pull that up as I'm reading through. 30 years later, we're finally getting a sequel of sorts to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. On Wednesday, publisher Dotemu, I'm going to pronounce it Dotemu. If I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, kindafunny.com/you're-wrong, let me know. Publisher Dotemu and game developer Tribute Games revealed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Described as a, quote, a classically informed side-scrolling beat-em-up directly inspired by classic TMNT games, end quote. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is a 4-player co-op beat-em-up in the classic Konami style. Here's the official setup of the game's story and mechanics. Quote, with Bebop and Rocksteady amassing gizmos to support Krang and Shredder's latest scheme, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge finds the Turtles battling through a breathless tour of iconic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles locations to thwart their nemesis's most diabolical plan yet. Armed with shell-shocking new abilities built on a foundation of classic brawling mechanics, the gang are in for an exhilarating Foot Clan stomping romp, leading them through the sewers and bustling boroughs of New York City all the way to Dimension X, end quote. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is being developed by Montreal-based Tribute Games. Since its inception in 2007, publisher Dotemu has leaned heavily into classic game nostalgia with retro remakes and sequels such as Streets of Rage 4, Windjammers 2, and Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. Janet Garcia, are you into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games at all? Are you excited for this one?
I am into them. I am excited. Excited's a strong word. I'm interested in it. I definitely will pick it up. I am a pretty big fan of beat 'em ups. Like, I think they satiate that part of my lizard brain that craves repetitiveness and just something that's fun that you can zone out to. But that also has like a little bit of depth to them. I think that's what that genre really offers when it's done well. I've played a lot of like recent ones like Streets of Rage 4. I digged back into Scott Pilgrim, which wasn't as magical as I remember it being, but I still had a good time. I got very stuck at the final boss, which I'm still bitter about. But yeah, I think this would be interesting. I think I liked the other game, but I'm not like a TMNT fanatic. Like, personally, it's funny, we were just talking about Mario and like the deep nostalgia, right? But like, TMNT doesn't do that for me. Like, I wasn't like, I did probably watch the cartoons as a kid, and I did watch like the would you call it live action? Like Secret of the Ooze. Like, I watched a bunch. I had that on VHS.
Yeah,
Go Ninja. You were like doing the dance, right?
Yeah, Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, right. Like, it was a fun time. They had the little canister. Like, what was gonna happen? I watched the hell out of that movie, but I don't know. I guess like for me, nostalgia stuff never really gets me super won over. I think just because like it's still, I don't know, pulling on an old thread in a way. Like, I always get more excited about like new like ideas. Now, granted, this is a new entry, so I think like this is cool and could be really good, but like I'm not gonna pretend like I'm like a TMNT. Like, I've never talked about TMNT before, right? Like, I'm not like a fanatic over it. But yeah, I think they've a quality beat 'em up, and I think those are fun characters and it's a cool world. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this out when it drops.
Are you excited for this coming off of Streets of Rage 4? Because this is it's same publisher, right? And I know people seem to love Streets of Rage 4 when that came out, and it seemed like that game did all the things right. Like, when it comes to beat 'em ups nowadays, I have more, I think, nostalgia for beat 'em ups over the actual desire to jump into a beat 'em up, right? Where when I think of my childhood and growing up with beat 'em ups, I think of Double Dragon. I think of TMNT, but I have plenty of friends that know folks love Turtles in Time. The one I owned was the one on the Game Boy Color. I forget the exact name of it, but there was a TMNT game for Game Boy that I owned and I played all the time, right? And I think of those games fondly from hey, I was a kid and I played this shit all the time and I fucked around. It was that kind of brain numbing experience of going through and beating shit up. But I don't really think of them as the thing where I'm like, yeah, nowadays I want to jump in and go through. Aside from that thing of I want to go back and kind of revisit that, right? Like, I do also think of Scott Pilgrim, which is a game that came out again, and I jumped into a little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm glad they brought this back. It's not necessarily the best game ever made, right? Like, this game definitely has its flaws, and it's definitely not the most like technically masterful thing, but it's still fun to go back and revisit shit from old. And the fact that they're bringing it back means that people get to revisit that game, revisit those memories, revisit those feelings. Coming off Streets of Rage 4, are you excited for this just as a video game?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said before, I have an appreciation for beat 'em ups. I think beat 'em ups definitely are like, because it's more of a niche genre, it's not like just action adventure or whatever. If you like them, you like them, but if you don't, you kind of just don't. It's sort of going to be a stylistic choice thing as far as that. But yeah, I was a fan of Streets of Rage 4. I didn't love it as much as some people loved it. I played it with my brother, though. I do think having another person is key. I will not play these games by myself. Because I think they'd lose part of what I like about them, which is it's a kind of, brain numbing loop that I can play while I'm like next to someone or with someone or talking to someone. Like, I do think that's part of the appeal for me, at least. And two, I'm not that good at them. For some reason, I'm better than my brother at a lot of games now because I am not a child anymore, and also because of the nature of our career, we play a lot of games. So eventually, you get kind of okay at some of them, right? But beat 'em ups are an exception. For some reason, he's just really good at them. So I definitely kind of lean on his ability a little bit for some of those like harder battles. But I played Streets of Rage 4 with him. I played Scott Pilgrim with him. So I am excited to have like, hey, this is another beat 'em up that we can play together. One thing that I'd like to see, though, moving forward with the genre is just maybe a little bit more genre blending, I think. I'd like to see beat 'em ups like those kind of mechanics be drawn to other games. What comes to mind for me is Super Crush KO. I don't know if you're familiar. So people that made Graceful Explosion Machine, Vertex Pop, they had like this action game that sort of had some of that beat 'em up energy because it was just like wave after wave of enemy, but it was still more of an action game than a beat 'em up game. But that kind of scratched a lot of those same itches for me while being a lot more stylistically pleasing and mechanically deep. So I would like to see a little bit more genre blending going forward, because I do think all of them are extremely formulaic, and it is part of the genre, right? It's going to be left to right. It's going to be a bunch of waves. It'll be, maybe you can throw some stuff. But I'm most interested to see what kind of experimentation is done in here. Like the thing I like about Scott Pilgrim is they have like the leveling system and you can buy the items. They don't introduce that very well, which is one of the criticisms of the game, but stuff like that is like, oh, this sets it apart from the other ones. So I'm interested to see what's going to be that secret sauce that they're going to put in to make this feel distinct amongst a genre that's kind of, very samey.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I think that's something that would open up that genre to more people, is if they added more stuff into it. Going through Twitter, right? Like people were very excited about this morning. I think one of the reasons why is because it seems like they're very much trying to stay true to TMNT and what those early arcade games did for people. I'm gonna pull from Game Informer because they actually had a really good write up about the things that they're doing to actually stay true. And so this is Game Informer right here. Like any TMNT game worth its salt, Shredder's Revenge lets up to 4 friends team up locally and online, crossplays to be determined, to beat the tar out of villains like the Foot Clan, Bebop, Rocksteady, and Shredder himself. The game draws inspiration from the iconic 1987 animated show, and if you're somehow worried that the developers don't understand the source material, jettison those doubts now. Both Dotemu, that's what I was seeing in chat. People were saying .emu. Both Dotemu and Tribute Games are staffed by old school TMNT fans who, like many of us, were raised on the classic cartoon, collected its multitude of toys, and spent way too much money playing the arcade games. From the game's character and art design to the remade version of that famous theme song performed by Faith No More's Mike Patton, Shredder's Revenge is designed to be the ultimate love letter to TMNT's glory years. Quote, "We wanted to bring back a game for the fans of the 87 animated series and also the old school arcade games of the 90s, says Tribute Games co-founder Jean-Francois Major. Quote, "Because we felt that people missed it, and including us, because personally, I played those games a lot as a kid and I missed them a lot. So that was the idea that started it." End quote. To wrap up this conversation, I want to bring in a question from Jordan Vickers, who wrote into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can, and says, "I woke up to seeing a trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, a brand new game by Tribute Games and Dotemu. It's a classic old school co-op brawler like the old Turtle games, and even done with the old 80s cartoon aesthetic with an awesome new pixel style. It is not, however, a remake of any previous games at all, which brings me to my question. Do you want to see more games done in this retro style, but the game itself is brand new, or keep seeing old remakes of games we already know, like the DuckTales games a few years ago? I know I might be pandering to Greg on this, but I would love to see the real Ghostbusters video game." And Janet, this kind of gets to the thing you were talking about a little bit earlier in terms of what you want to see from these types of games when you're bringing them back. And this kind of, I think this kind of strikes the difference of like Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy versus Crash Bandicoot 4, right? Janet, for you, what do you prefer to see between those two approaches?
For me, I'm going to go with what Barney Stinson said on How I Met Your Mother. New is always better. I always want to go with the newer thing. Even if it ends up being worse, like for me, I always feel like as much work goes into these remakes and as much as they can be really well done, especially if you go outside of the beat 'em up genre, like RE2 remake is like amazing. And yes, some of those games are too old to like, for you to really feel like you're getting the experience that people got back when they played them. And I think that refresh is valuable. However, I think it's still resting on the laurels of brilliant game design that was done before. Like I want to see what's out now. And that's why like for Game of the Year stuff, I never really pick a remake for it, because I'm like, well, you're still resting on the laurels of previous game design. Like, I don't think that speaks to what like, the year is. So for me, I always want new.
Yeah. I think there's a time and place for all the options above, like all the options on the table, right? Like I love Final Fantasy VII Remake for what it is, right? It's like it's a revisiting, a retelling of that same story. while also at the same time sprinkling a bit of freshness in there. I appreciated RE2 remake. I thought that was a really cool thing, especially for me who kind of skipped the RE games back in the day, being able to jump into that and re-experience that story through a modern lens. I think that's always a cool thing. But with that being the case, right, I like to see stuff like this. I like to see old ideas being brought back in new ways. And so, yeah, this is a thing I'm actually very excited about, because this does mean that for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, like Greg always says the thing of old games old, right? Which isn't necessarily always disparaging old games. It's more so him talking about how, yeah, no, I just like to play the new and fresh thing. I think for me, there's always that thing tying old games back to their era where, I can't speak as much for Turtles in Time because I didn't get obsessed with Turtles in Time in the way that so many people, fell in love with that game. But I'm sure there's things, right, where if you picked up Turtles in Time, then dropped it in 2021 with no mechanical changes, right, no gameplay changes, I'm sure there will be things here and there where people are like, okay, yeah, no, this is fun, this is a good nostalgic thing, but it's still being kind of held back by signs of the time, right? Whereas Shredder's Revenge kind of allows that game to kind of do its own thing and not necessarily have those same comparisons to the original version. People are still going to compare, but if you add in a brand new idea to Shredder's Revenge that makes it play well in 2021, that isn't a thing that's going to get picked apart by people because they're not doing 100% remake of the original game. And so with those being with those cases, I'm like, yeah, do something new, do something fresh, because that sounds very exciting. Speaking of very exciting, story number 2, Animal Crossing and Build-A-Bear are having a crossover. I'm going to pull from Rebecca Valentine at IGN. Have you ever wished you could cuddle a big stuffed animal of Tom Nook and then dress him up in a bunch of cute little outfits? Build-A-Bear may be about to make that a reality. In a tweet today, Build-A-Bear announced it had partnered with Nintendo for an Animal Crossing collection. Unfortunately, there are no further details at the moment as to which Animal Crossing characters will be turned into cute stuffed animals. Based on past promotions, it seems very possible we get at least 1 or 2 bears based on or inspired by main characters from the game, such as Tom Nook or Isabelle, as well as a handful of outfits that can be worn by any bear. It's also possible that, like other collections, this is one that grows over time to include more and more characters. Janet Garcia, I saw that you were excited about this on Twitter.
Yes.
Are you? Oh wow, you busted out. I tabbed over, I tabbed back. All of a sudden, Yoshi's turned into Isabelle.
Yes. I'm excited.
Explain. Why are you excited?
Okay. I'm excited because so many reasons. One, I love Animal Crossing. I have this Isabelle head that I got for Christmas. I have the Switch, the Animal Crossing Switch, which was kind of bond to whim because Animal Crossing New Horizons was my first Animal Crossing game. And I love plushies, cute garbage. Like my thing is like cute trash, right? We all have our things as gamers. Maybe you're buying those ugly collector's edition statues, like whatever, right? This is my thing, okay? Stuffed animals, cute things.
Do you have plush toys of every game you're a fan of? Because it'd be awesome if like we just get to the next news story and all of a sudden Janet busts out some Elden Ring plush.
I would love to have that be what I'm known for.
That'd be a great brand.
That's very solid. It's part of, I mean, I do bring out like Squishmallows on my stream and stuff. So I do appreciate like a good plush. And I personally have really also just really loved all the different Nintendo collabs. I'm wearing the Mario Black Milk jacket. I got some of the Animal Crossing Black Milk collab stuff. I got some of the ColourPop Animal Crossing makeup, even though as you can probably tell, I don't actually wear makeup. So why did I buy it? I don't know. I just needed it. Okay. Like this is what I do.
You mentioned you like to bust your toys out on your stream. Where do you stream?
I stream at twitch.tv/GameOnasis. I'll be streaming 8 hours today for Mario Day, so come through. It'll be fun. With my brother, who introduced me to all those games, so it'll be fun. But yeah, and I think Build-A-Bear makes pretty solid plushes too. I do think sometimes they're not like amazing. They're sort of stiff. Like if you've gotten Build-A-Bear, I haven't had a Build-A-Bear since I was like a really small child, but Build-A-Bear did do a Pokemon collab, and like some of those were hit and miss, right? Like Charizard looked a little bit off, right? Like I don't know, but like they had some cute things, and I think the Bulbasaur plush specifically was really well made. So I like this in terms of being someone who's a fan of plushies, and it is always cool when you can get something that is directly first party, like no shade to fan created stuff, but it's nice to be able to get that through like a collaboration, and you can customize it. Like I think it's such a smart collab, and people have been asking for this for a long time. Like I saw some people call this out like months ago, like this would be huge. So the main thing is how hard is it going to be to get these things when they drop, and again, what the lineup is. I'd like to get at least like one of them, even just for review purposes, which sounds weirdly serious from
Let me
animals,
review your Build-A-Bear plushie.
No, yeah, like I'm serious. I'm like, Build-A-Bear at me. Like, let me like, I don't even need to keep them. I'll send them back. Like, I just want to see like how well they're. Yeah, I want to know how well they're made, what the scale is. If you can sit them up or not. Like, usually they don't balance that well. Like, I want to know all those details. You get to dress up your villagers. I think it also fits the Animal Crossing theme really well, because in Animal Crossing you can also like gift them sweaters or like put something up in the Able Sisters and they'll wear it. So I think it's just such a smart collab that really feeds into the brand of what the game already is. So yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm not an Animal Crossing person nor a Build-A-Bear person, but when I saw this announcement, I was like, damn, that's a really cool thing, because I know people are gonna freak out about it.
I was literally gonna be like, can you put this in the show, even if there's like more important stuff? Like, I need to talk about it. So thank you for including it.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I moved it up to story number 2. It was gonna be in the last couple, but when I saw that tweet, I was like, I'm moving it up. We gotta talk about this earlier than later. You mentioned that you're doing the Mario streams all day. Can you detail that? Like, is it all? Are you doing it 12 hours straight? What does that look like?
It's going to be 8 hours total. It's going to start off with, I have it pinned on my Twitter. If you go twitter.com/GameOnalysis. It is building Nintendo World and Animal Crossing New Horizons for 2 hours. It's something I'm working on. I'm slowly building out like a Mario Kart area and like a store. It looks very janky right now because Nintendo doesn't give you a lot of stuff. So like Bowser is just like that monster statue. It's very much bootleg Nintendo World, but I'm enjoying that. Then I'm doing 3D World with my brother from 3 to 5, Super Mario 64 from 5 to 7, and Mario Maker 2 from 7 to 9. So if you guys have levels, what a great day you want us to play, please at me with your Mario Maker 2 levels, because I'll preload them and then play them on stream if you are interested in that. But yeah, that's what the day looks like. I'm excited. I picked those in part because they're just fun games to play with another person, and also because I think they speak towards my relationship with those games and my brother. Like, we played 3D World together, we played Mario Maker 1 together all the time, and 64 is where it all started. So we'll be probably trading off stars and just kind of adventuring through and hanging out.
Awesome. Again, twitch.tv/GameOnest if you want to check that out. Switching gears to story number 3, don't expect Elden Ring news in March. This is from Francesco De Meo at WCCF Tech. The highly anticipated Elden Ring reveal is not happening in March, but it seems like this won't be due to the leaked trailer. Speaking on Twitter, Lance McDonald, a well-known figure in the Souls community who developed the Bloodborne 60 FPS patch, revealed that the leaked trailer hasn't pushed back the reveal, as it was never meant to happen in March to begin with. It has been months since the Elden Ring announcement, and we still have to get a proper look at the game. We still have yet to get a proper look at the game. According to well-known insider Omnipotent, the next game by From Software will feature the same online multiplayer features, PvP, and class system seen in the Souls series. So don't hold your breath, everybody who's waiting for Elden Ring 2. Probably by E3, I imagine we'll get that news, but no time soon. Jana, are you an Elden Ring person? Do you play Souls?
No, I don't play Souls, but now I feel like I'm just plugging my Twitch. I did finally make a community goal for channel points to get me to play Demon Souls for the first time. So I'm going to try to transfer those Animal Crossing skills into Demon Souls and see how that goes. I'm sure it translates. I feel like they're the same game. It's a lot of inventory management. Like, okay, it's the same thing. But no, I have not played Souls games yet. That is a gap that I have held on to for a really long time because I am intimidated by their difficulty, even though I've played really hard games, but like not like an action hard game. One thing that's interesting about this is, well, one, it's nice to try to maybe quiet down or lower the Elden Ring fire. I think this is, at the risk of this being like too much of a hot take or too SEO buzzwordy, I think we are getting into cyberpunk territory with the amount of hype for this game. We have not seen really anything official from this game. We don't know anything about this game. All we know is that it's gonna be good. Because why? Because you assume because someone made something good before or something else that you like that this will automatically be good. That is never a good assumption to make. And I feel that way even about games that I love. Like, I'm not gonna assume that the next Mario game is gonna be amazing. I mean, chances are, yeah, I mean, that it'll probably be good. Like, I'd be surprised if it was not good. But like, too often we get so excited and like build up these mashups in our heads, and it just gets really, really wild really quickly. So I do hope that I can't imagine what it's like to be a fan of that and to see that. Like, I can't relate to that excitement, and I acknowledge that. So like, I don't understand that level of excitement. However, don't assume that's going to be awesome, and just, wait it out. I think it might be a long time before this really goes through the whole cycle. There are games that we see all the time, and I think it's also a risk, right? We talked a lot about, or I know a lot of people were talking about Oddworld being shown like a million times, and like, why do we keep seeing this game at every event? There's also fatigue.
At every PlayStation event.
Yes, it's everywhere.
I want to know what they have on PlayStation. They got some shit on Herman Hulse is like quaking in his boots right now at whatever the Oddworld people have.
Out, they just like put drag and drop that in or something. No shade to the Oddworld team. I'm sure that game will maybe be fine, right? I don't know though. I haven't played it, so I do hope that people simmer down a bit with the Elden Ring stuff, because it's getting like really intense really quickly, and it's based off nothing but previous things that have been done.
Yeah, that I think that's one of the scary things about building up a community of hardcore players that are very into what you do, because I think you're exactly right in terms of the fact that we've not officially seen gameplay for Elden Ring, right? Like we had the reveal trailer, and then we've had some leaks here and there. I remember when I was playing through Bloodborne, I messaged the homie Timur Hussein, who is one of the biggest Souls fans that I know, and I was like, "Hey, update me on Elden Ring," because I was getting into that place where I was like, "Ooh, okay, I'm starting to actually dig this. Like I'm feeling this. Like I kind of want more." And I hit him up and I was like, "Hey, update me on Elden Ring, because I want to know, like, what's it supposed to be? Why is everybody so hyped?" And Timur hit me back and he was like, "Okay, so remember that reveal trailer that we got at E3 or whenever it was revealed?" And I was like, "Yeah, I remember that." And he was like, "That's all. That's all that we've gotten." And I was like, "Wait,
you're caught up."
Yeah, I was like, "Wait, I'm caught up. Why is there so much fervor for this game?" And really, the fervor just comes from the fact that it's From Software, and they've built such a community that is so hardcore about the games that they make. And so right now there is this swell of hype that is built up, and everybody cannot wait for Elden Ring. And frankly, I'm one of those people now that I've beaten Bloodborne and I've beaten Sekiro. I'm one of those people now.
Calm down.
No, I will not. No, I'm just kidding. I'm one of those people now, though, because I'm in that place where after playing those two games, I was like, dude, these guys, it's not that they can't do no wrong, but they do very good right. You know what I mean? Like the things that they've done right, they've done very right.
Do have the sauce. Like you can't front and say that like we don't all think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be good, right? Like that's just the reality. But like I think there's a difference between having faith in a studio and being excited for a new project, and already being like, where's my masterpiece of a game? It's like, whoa.
Yeah, being the super fan of a thing that we've seen one reveal trailer for, feels like an overstep in terms of, hey, maybe let's chill a bit and wait till we see more of this stuff. I know
y'all have other games you have to play, and I know you know what they are. They're sitting in your library right now, and you're gonna delete them to make space because the PS5 doesn't have good storage yet. Just go play those games.
Go play those games. Yeah, it's kind of the curse of, hey, we have this hardcore community that we've built up, and they're happy to see what we do. But then also, if we disappoint them, oh man, you don't want to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very excited for Elden Ring though. Hope we get it revealed soon. Looking forward to my future game of the year. Story number 4. PS5 developers can now add de novo anti-cheat to their games. This is from Jordan Alleman at IGN. De novo anti-cheat has joined the PlayStation 5 tools and middleware program, hoping to help developers to fight cheaters on the platform. Revealed in a press release from de novo creator Adeoye, the company announced that game publishers and developers will be able to leverage this anti-cheat technology to, quote, bring cheating to an end on PS5. Quote, de novo, the leader in video games protection, offers its anti-cheat solution through this program to publishers and developers whose games are available on the PS5, the press release reads. De novo reasons that its tools will allow developers to protect their investment when, quote, approximately 70% of the revenue is earned in the first 2 weeks after the launch of a game, end quote. Many developers risk losing their player base if a game is overrun by cheaters. Adeoye said that de novo's technology allows developers to, quote, secure both online gameplay as well as securely reward offline progress, and mentioned that it was already being used in a number of PlayStation 5 launch games. De novo has been controversial in the games community previously. Its software recently added and then later removed de novo anti-cheat from Doom Eternal following online backlash from players. This is one of those interesting ones because I'm not a huge PC gamer, and so I'm not necessarily had to worry about de novo, but I've heard de novo anti-cheat thrown around here or there. Whenever I'm following it, it's usually in the vein of people not being happy that it's being included with their game. And so it being added, or it being welcomed onto PlayStation as a middleware program that's available for developers to use, I think is an interesting one because I'm of two minds with it, right? Like, one, if it truly is, and the speculation has been that it causes games to perform worse, et cetera, et cetera. Stuff that seems kind of gray in terms of people actually coming out with proof and proving that it causes stuff to run worse and all that stuff. But if that truly is true, right? Like you would hope that PlayStation as a company cracks down on it and makes sure that that's not the case on PlayStation. That's one part. And then the other mind I'm of with it is the fact that, hey, if developers, this very much seems to be to the choice of developers whether or not they want to use it, right? And so if the option is there for developers and they really feel like they got to use it to protect their multiplayer game or do whatever, then cool. I'm glad you have that choice, but I'm not too worried about this because it seems like developers can make that choice easily to be like, hey, this isn't a fit for us, or hey, we're making a single player game, there's no use for this, or hey, cheaters aren't as much of a problem on our game, and so we don't have to worry about it. I know on PS5 in general, cheaters aren't as big of an issue in general as opposed to like PC, but Janet, do you have any takes on this one?
PC is like a whole nother thing. I'm also not really a PC person. Like I just play random indies on there that I can't get anywhere else. That's all I'm doing on my PC and like working, But yeah, I think I would assume that one of the reasons that this wasn't like maybe available immediately was for sort of what you're talking about to avoid like technical hiccups. Like I'm sure this has been like, I'm sure they've explored those kind of things. It's not to say that it will like rule out seamlessly, but they probably were aware as they were integrating it on like how to avoid that or the potential of that being a problem. And like you said, since it's a developer's choice, like I don't have a problem with that. Though also, again, I'm not really a gamer who would be affected by that. I so rarely play multiplayer stuff, let alone stuff where I even am concerned about anything in terms of like scoring or cheating. So like I'm definitely not the person that would even be concerned. So I'm not the best person to talk about it in that sense. But yeah, I think developer's choice. I support whatever developers feel is right for their product, their artwork, their game. So hopefully it works out well if it's rolled out into games and that it doesn't create friction within any of those multiplayer communities. Because like you said, there have been cases before, but also it seems like developers are pretty flexible with working with their communities. Like I don't think anyone would inherently try to go against, like an issue that a community is presenting. Like that's kind of where their job comes in, right? So like pick and choose what kind of complaints they like tend to, or things they fix, or stuff they even like backpedal or change. So I'm not too worried about this, but definitely something to keep an eye on like moving forward.
Yeah, I remember. I think we talked about the id Software situation when that went down, and I remember the case being that they added it, people did not like it, they removed it. They also said that hey, we don't tie performance issues in Doom to de novo. That's another issue or whatever. And so again, like they kind of kept that a bit gray, but it seems like this will be a process for of developers communicating and doing the thing that they need to do as developers and as folks fostering a community, is listening to their community if they add it and people are not feeling it. And so hopefully we see developers work carefully with that one. Janet, before I get to the last news story, I want to tell you about our sponsor. Of course, folks can go over to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames to get the show ad free. And speaking of ads, this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily is brought to you by Logitech. Gaming headsets are important. You want a headset with a good mic, good sound, and a headset that feels comfortable to wear. That's what's best about the G733 wireless gaming headset from Logitech G. The G733 Lightspeed wireless gaming headset comes with a 2.4 gigahertz wireless connectivity, front-facing dual-zone LightSync RGB, Blue Voice mic technology, Pro G audio drivers, and multiple colorways to choose from. It also has total freedom with up to 20 meters wireless range with Lightspeed wireless. Keep playing with 29 plus hours of battery life. Play wirelessly on PlayStation 4 with stereo sound. With front-facing dual-zone LightSync RGB lighting, you can personalize your headset lighting across style and comfort. The reversible suspension headband is designed for ultimate comfort during long play sessions. Each G733 colorway has its own unique headband design. There's also soft dual-layer memory foam that conforms to your head and contours around the jaw for a better seal, reduces stress points, and delivers longer-lasting comfort. It's available in multiple colorways, each with its own vibrant reversible headband and corresponding ear pads. For a limited time, Logitech G is offering our listeners express shipping at logitechg.com. Use code KindaFunnyDailyFreeShip38 for express shipping today. That's express shipping for all Logitech G products with promo code KindaFunnyDailyFreeShip38. Hurry now since the promo code expires in 3 days. This has been one of my favorite ad reads to do because the promo code changes every week, and the 38 immediately reminded me of 1738. Shout out Fetty Wap. Next news story. Only a few people who are actually listening to this show in particular are probably going to get that one. Next sponsor is Hellofresh. What is Hellofresh? With Hellofresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Hellofresh lets you skip those trips to the grocery store and makes home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh cuts out stressful meal planning and grocery store trips so you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in about 30 minutes or less. With 25 plus recipes to choose from each week, there's something for everyone to enjoy. All recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. Kind of Funny loves HelloFresh. Joey uses it all the time. Kevin's on the HelloFresh train, and even Greg has it. Kevin, you love HelloFresh, right?
I
taking a nap. I already knew it.
absolutely adore it. I'm not taking a nap. I was awake.
I believe
Can
you.
you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're here.
All right, dude. I got we get the vegetarian HelloFresh because Paul is a vegetarian, and the mushroom shepherd's pie was so good.
Ooh, that sounds good. That sounds good. If that sounds good to you, you can go to hellofresh.com/12games and use code 12games. That's the number 12, number 1, number 2 games for 12 free meals, including free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/12games and use code 12games for 12 free meals, including free shipping. America's #1 meal kit. Janet, I got one more news story for you. It's a story that I'm very excited about. We got more Outer Worlds DLC incoming. This is directly from the Outer Worlds Twitter. They tweeted out this morning. The board is pleased to announce that your new job duties are almost ready. Spacer. Stand by for more information arriving tomorrow regarding your upcoming assignments. This is, of course, teasing toward the murder on Eridanos DLC. Janet, before I even get into it, did you play Outer Worlds? Are you an Outer Worlds person?
I only played a little bit of it. I need to go back and finish it.
How
But I
dare
did
you.
like what I played. Yes, I know. I dared. I did dare. I ran out of time. Didn't finish that or Outer Wilds, so gotta get.
I didn't finish Outer Wilds too. I had played Outer Wilds, or I tried playing Outer Wilds so many times, and that was the one where I was like, I want to get to the end of this game because everybody talks about how this game blows your mind, but my mind doesn't work in that way, the way that the game wants my mind to work with the navigation. Flying that spaceship was difficult, man. But regarding Outer Worlds and its DLC, what's up, Kevin?
I pressed the wrong button, and
Oh no, what
trying
happened?
To see if it's gonna cut or not. It looks like we're good. Never mind. Keep going. Everything's fine.
We're good.
Yep.
Awesome.
The writing in that game is really good.
Oh yeah.
Outer
See,
Worlds.
Outer Worlds is the Outer Worlds DLC is one of the few DLCs that I've actually found myself getting into. Usually I'm not a DLC person. I'm usually one and done and I'm out. And
when
the
credits
Pearls
roll,
on
so do I.
Yeah, the Pearls on Gorgon DLC came out in last fall, and I played it. I started it up just out of curiosity and ended up playing through the whole thing and loved it. And I can't wait for Murder on Eridanos because if it gives me the same caliber of DLC that was Pearl on Gorgon, then I'm cool. I'm down for it. Outer Worlds is just one of those games and one of those worlds that I feel like, it doesn't require the amount of investment as a 100-hour RPG, right? Like you can kind of jump into that world and get a sense of the ongoings because it's a shorter RPG and it doesn't have much backstory to it in terms of previous games and all that shit that you need to learn the lore of. The lore is pretty much there if you want to explore it and get into that world. And so when they added in Peril on Gorgon, I jumped in and immediately I was like, cool. I know enough about this game's world. I don't need to refresh myself on all the events that happen in this game for me to go through it, enjoy it, and appreciate it as its own episodic content. And so with that, I'm actually really excited for what this is going to be. But we're going to get that tomorrow. And Janet, tomorrow is so far away. If I knew it was coming out to mom and pop shops today, where would I look?
You'd look at the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games daily show host each and every weekday.
Do 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 yeah. Kevin, your voice is heavenly. Out today, we got only just one game, Star Renegades. That's coming out on PS4, and then new dates for you. We got Accelerate. That's coming to Steam on March 30th. Accelerate. Kevin, can you look up Accelerate real quick? Spell EGG. That's what I'm getting.
Is it like an egg racing game?
Okay, let's guess. You guessed an egg racing game.
Yes.
See, that's a really good guess because I had no idea what
Fight the
else.
bullets like a bullet hell dinner game.
I had no idea what else an Accelerate can be. I'm gonna say,
or maybe you're like it's Accelerate. It's not Accelerant because I'm like it could be like an egg arson game.
All right.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be fast paced. Wait, do you have it pulled up? Or are you about to pull it up?
I mean, you haven't guessed yet, so I don't think I can.
I'm gonna say it's a shoot 'em up. It's a shoot 'em up where you play as an egg.
You're super
Nice.
wrong. Oh my God.
Damn it.
You're so wrong.
Am I also super wrong?
No,
Or
you're
less
closer.
wrong?
Well, Janet had the only like plausible answer. Oh shit.
Yeah.
So you're driving through. You're basically driving on.
It's Excitebike. But with an
it's
egg.
Pro gamer right here.
Excitebike. Yeah, it basically looks a little bit like Excitebike. You have obstacles coming through to try and knock you off the course. And your whole goal is to keep the egg balanced on top of your car. That's actually a really awesome idea for a game.
I could fuck with this.
I can fuck with this too. Greg Miller, if you listen to this, I'm gonna need a code for Accelerate. We're gonna need two, one for me, one for Kevin.
It's either gonna be really fun or not work out. It's one of the
That's
two.
a really novel game, a novel idea for a game. This week I started playing this game called Kill It With Fire, which the whole idea of that game is you're in a house that is infested with spiders, and you kill the spiders by any means necessary.
That's also part of Metro Exodus.
Oh, that's
a few people will get that if they've played.
That's a real good poll.
Metro Exodus.
Don't we know the people that made that game, that Kill It With Fire?
Somebody wrote in about it. I don't know if we know the people, but somebody recommended it on a show earlier.
That's on Switch, right?
I'm playing it on PlayStation. It probably is on Switch. But that's another one where playing it, I'm like, cool. This is a really novel idea. I'm probably going to play this for another couple of hours and put it down and never play it again. But I'm going to appreciate those couple of hours, you know?
Andy worked with the creator of it.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what someone was saying in the chat. Andy knows the dev. A bunch of people are saying in the chat. All right. Like, you guys answered enough, all right? That's enough.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Wait, do we have time to know what Bite the Bullet is?
We got time. We got plenty of time.
Okay, so
Bite the
I'm
Bullet
thinking
is also coming to PS4 on March 19th.
This is going to be, my guess is Bullet Hell Cooking.
Ooh, okay. Bite the Bullet.
Guess. Are there two food games out
Bite
this week?
the Bullet. Bite the Bullet. I'm gonna go.
PS4.
Fuck. You're giving really good answers because now I don't know what else it could be.
I have another. You can take my. I have another answer as well.
What's your other answer?
I feel like it would just be about dying. So like you die over and over again, almost like a what's the name of that game that everyone's like, it's gonna be dope, and almost like not a lot of people played it. Pedro. My name is Pedro. Like kind of like that style. My friend is Pedro, right? My friend Pedro. Yeah.
That was a great way to describe my friend Pedro, because I was one of those people.
Polish. A lot of people said they'd play it, and almost no one did. Yes.
Yeah.
Ready?
Everyone lied.
Hit it.
Okay. T for
I played my friend Pedro. Nice. I just didn't love it.
Mon ami Pedro.
God damn it! I should have made my guess because this would have been my guess.
Yeah.
Fuck, this game looks cool. For people listening to the audio version, it's basically a shoot 'em up, right? You're playing as. Oh my god, he just drank some shit and turned him green. It looks almost like a Contra or a Metal Slug kind of game.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Pixel art 2D shooter.
The music is a lot.
Oh, he's crumping. Yo, we got a good selection today for new dates. Holy shit! All right, that's enough. Thank you, Kevin, for looking this up.
I would. It's like very like intense.
I would legitimately play both of those games. That was a good selection of games. I'm glad we looked them up.
I'll see you on the egg street when my car as I balance my egg.
Now would be time for reader mail, but we're shifting gears this episode. It's Mario Day. It's March 10th, which means it's time to celebrate. I asked you guys on Twitter, hit me with some of your Mario memories. I want to read through some of them. Me and Janet can talk about them. Of course, the homie Imran Khan wrote in and said, I remember making my mom drive me to Target in 1996 because I had heard that the N64 kiosk was set up. I played Mario 64 in pajama pants in a coat and could feel the ground shifting under my feet because of how revolutionary it felt. Video games did not feel like this before. Do you have any like strong Mario 64 memories? You mentioned being excited. You mentioned being scared at some points in the game. Do you remember what those points were? Because I do have two specific moments where I was very scared playing Mario.
I was scared of what's his name? Like he's not the Womp, but like the one that goes like this, and then he the
Wiggler. Oh,
no, the big brick man.
Yeah, the guy in the second level in the
he's not the Womp
fortress.
Though. He's like the Womp's like older goon brother. I don't know his name.
If
anyone knows his name.
It's called Womp's Fortress, isn't it? The level?
Oh, he's Womp, but he's not the Womp because the Womps are the things that go with the spikes.
Okay.
So his name is Womp. Then
people are saying Womp is correct.
Situation.
People are saying there's a Thwomp and then there's Womp.
Yeah. So Womp
Mario's
was scary.
Stupid.
Yeah. Womp was scary. I was probably afraid of the eel because who isn't? But in general, boss battles always scared me as a kid. They even still stress me out as an adult, even though I'm like 27 years old now and not like 5. But yeah, it was like an intense like test. I think some of the and then other vivid memories. I think doing some of the harder platforming sections were challenging, and they're still hard as an adult for some reason. Like in the is it Cool Mountain, I think is the name of the snowy level, like having to do some of the intensive platforming, like in the bottom area where you're sort of doing a wall kick and like a slide and everything. Like those combos stuck with me as well.
Yeah, for me, Cool Mountain is a good shout out. Shout out to Cool Mountain. In terms of the levels that scared me, yeah, the eel is definitely one. The final fight with Bowser, I remember being a kid. I was probably like 5 or 6 years old. And I remember having to have my sisters play that final boss fight for me the first time because I was terrified. The way the organs came in, the way that Bowser somehow looked more scary, even though it was the same Bowser, just with like different coloration. And everything about that level terrified me. And so I was like scared of that as a kid. That and then what was the other one? I think Dire Docks might have also been scary for me. That was the second water level where you dive down directly and then have to come up through the submarine. There's a black hole in that level that'll suck you up and then throw you at the front of the castle. That shit terrified me for whatever reason. I don't know why specifically, but that was very scary for me. Adam Banker's here writes in and says, playing Mario Kart 8 with my little brother and sister, who at the time lived in Montenegro. Besides being an incredible game, it helped me stay in touch with my family and create incredible memories. Video games are magic. Mario Kart is a great one because I think Mario Kart is a game that we all kind of played, and you know it was always that fun communal experience that you had, no matter what Mario Kart game it was. So shout out to Mario Kart.
Mario Kart's dope. I'm hoping for another one. That's DLC I always will buy. Mario Kart, more tracks.
I doubt we'll get it.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get anything. I don't expect to ever get anything as a Nintendo fan. I just sit here and I'm sad in my shirt.
For some reason, if Nintendo announced a new Mario Kart at any moment, or even more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, I would be shocked. I don't know why, but it just doesn't feel right to me. I feel like it won't be until the Switch 2 launch that we'll get a next Mario Kart.
Yeah, that's probably.
I don't have any like
true.
reasonable reasoning for that. I just feel it in my gut. My Mario.
Who do you
gut.
main in Mario Kart?
In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I run with Tanuki Mario.
Okay, well, it's fun.
I'm pretty basic when it comes to the Mario spin-off games. Like usually I'll main Mario because he's usually the well-rounded character. And so in Mario Tennis, I'm rocking Mario. Mario 64, I did Bowser. That was the one where I was like, fuck it, man. I'm going for strength over anything else.
Okay, nice.
Scrolling through, let's see here. Let me pull one or two more. There's a lot of submissions here. Jim Tasty says, Mario's unwavering commitment to doing what's right no matter what. I especially think of the final battle in the original Paper Mario. He never gives up. It's someone like that. We don't talk enough about Mario's personality. Were you ever a Paper Mario person?
No, I wasn't. Were you?
Paper Mario on the N64 was one that I really loved. I remember playing that game multiple times back in the day and being obsessed with it because that was the first Mario game that I played that added a lot of character to the actual characters in the Mario world.
Yeah, like Mario definitely doesn't get as much personality shine as like Luigi does. Though I feel like in more recent games they've added like a little bit of extra stuff, and it is always fun to see Mario's personality come through because it is so rare and like he's so often just this like we're all Mario, right? Like it's just kind of like he's just this innocuous character that you just sort of play as, but every now and then his personality does come through. How would you characterize his personality? I feel like he's a little bit snippy sometimes. Like he has a little bit of sass to him, not nearly as much as Luigi, but sometimes he has like a bit of like lighthearted grumpiness almost.
See, I've always
like who is this man, right?
Yeah, no, it really is like who the fuck is Mario? I wouldn't be surprised if we get the reveal someday that Mario is a dumbass. He just doesn't know shit. There's like nothing going on up there. Cause like what I feel like Mario is always brute force when it comes down to it. He's jumping, he's fighting Bowser, but he's saved the same princess 15 times in a row. And at a certain point, it's like, bro.
Also, Mario Peach, are they dating? Like,
definitely not.
I say no, right? They're not.
No.
Oh, also, before the show ends, can I just show y'all the back of my jacket really quick because it looks dope?
Go for it.
Okay, cool.
She's turning around. Her back of her jacket is Super Mario 85 with a fun Mario design. Damn, that's sick.
Right?
That's
okay,
awesome.
right?
Yeah.
No one ever sees the back of it because, like, I'm quarantined. You only see this part of my existence. But yes, that is my contribution to today. You're welcome,
I'm going to
society.
pull one more write-in. It's from the homie Steve Saylor, friend of the show. Steve says, my favorite Mario memory was when my mom first bought the NES as a kid. We had no idea Mario came with the system. So my mom, my brother, and I would pass the controller back and forth to try and beat it. I remember staying up late at night and watching my mom beat the game. It was the best. So yes, my mom beat Mario before my brother and I did. However, even though I had trouble playing it, it was so fun watching her beat that last level. I still say my mom would be a gamer today, but she found Monopoly on NES, and that's the only game she'll ever play. That's awesome. Janet, people can write in to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong, where they write in and let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong. Are you ready to see what we got wrong?
Yes.
People are writing in a lot about the pronunciation of Datimu. So I appreciate that.
Did anyone, was there an actual answer, or did everyone give their own separate answer?
It seems like everybody is agreed on emu is like the separated pronunciation people give. Emu.
All right, that's not too bad. That happens.
Somebody asking about the Game Boy game that I played that was TMNT. They said, was it TMNT Fall of the Foot Clan? Here, I can give a quick Google search. TMNT Fall.
Yeah, go for it. It's so hard to remember those like childhood games where it's like I have no idea because I barely even picked it out, and it was one of 4 games I owned.
Looking at gameplay of Fall of the Foot Clan. Oh yes, it was definitely yes. This is the one. Nice. This is definitely the one. I recognize that life bar anywhere. Yeah, that was the one I played a whole lot of when I was a kid. So there you go. Let's see here. This is a you're right, so we can skip that.
Sweet, not too bad so far. I can live with that.
Turtle Colonel gives us one that we kind of already corrected. Andy worked with the creator of the game, Kill It With Fire. And then this is Miss News. Astro's Playroom is getting an official soundtrack release this Friday, and it does have the GPU song that went viral. So if you love that Astro's Playroom soundtrack, boom, good news for you. Well, awesome. Janet Garcia, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a fun Kind of Funny Games Daily.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is our first time making content just like the two of us.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Like, we've not gotten the chance to actually host this show one-on-one, and it was a thing I was very excited to do, because I forget where you mentioned it before, but like I remember a while ago we were talking about how like we feel like we're the new wave of folks coming into
we're the
game
same
media.
Like I'm not also future class, but we're the same like class of like
we came around the same time.
Content creation. Yeah, we're like near the same age. We had like a lot of the same background, like came up in a lot of the same ways. So yes, we're the new wave. Once we're a little bit older and some other people like, like vanish off or whatever, or do whatever old people do, we can finally have like old games just be like the N64 and not like,
oh my god,
something super old. We can finally
whatever.
stop
I'm
hearing
like,
those stories on podcasts.
I didn't play the Atari 2600, and people are like, well, how young is this kid?
I remember getting the N64
I was born in 94.
with my
What do you
roommates in
expect?
college, and I'm like, I was 4, couldn't read yet, but games are fun,
Yeah. Can't wait for
so
it.
soon other people will be the young people, and we'll feel old.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Well,
I'm excited.
here's the thing. We're going to get to the point where people are going to be like, yeah, my first console was the PS3. And that's when me and you are going to be like, what the fuck?
I did have that kid? Wave. I had like I was in a GameStop the other day. Yes, I still go to GameStop. I was in the GameStop trying to get a memory card for my Vita. I got a Vita for Christmas. I don't know if I mentioned that. But someone was like, oh, do you guys still take PS3s? And they said no. And I was like, just a single gray strand appeared right at that moment.
Dude, the thing that got me a few weeks ago was people were posting the anniversaries of a bunch of different consoles, and somebody posted that the Nintendo Wii came out 15 years ago, and that was the one that blew me away, because for some reason I still see Nintendo Wii as a newish console. Like, that shit still feels like future tech to me. And that was the one where I was like, fuck, 15 years for the Wii? How? That was the first one that made me feel like I was getting anywhere near old. But again, Janet, thank you so much for joining me. Where can people find your content if they want to check you out?
You can find me everywhere on the internet under the handle Gameonesis. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Patreon, like Twitter, everywhere under Gameonesis. The main thing I do right now is I do a lot of variety streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/Gameonesis, but I also am still doing like reviews and more like, I guess, traditional content in that sense on YouTube and on my website. So I am working through all of that. Come through for Mario Day. I'm going to be streaming from 1 to 9 I'll do Animal Crossing at first, then after that it'll be me and my brother. So I think that's always fun to kind of, he brings out like a different side of me. I think we have really good chemistry because obviously we grew up together, where you have a really good relationship. And also it's kind of fun to, you want to know anything about who I was before I became who I am now. Ask my brother. He has all the fun facts and stories. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. Come through.
Awesome. This week's host for Kind of Funny Games Daily, of course, we have 2 days left in the week after this. And so tomorrow is going to be Tim and Timur Hussein. And then Friday is going to be Greg and Alex O'Neill. If you're watching this live right now on Twitch, after this is Mike and Greg playing some more Star Wars The Old Republic. Of course, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. We have a Patreon post show for those that are subbed at the silver level of patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, so stick around for that. Otherwise, until next time, Game Daily. Mario.